It's another week on the theSeoulChic TV. Alright, welcome lovelies. Welcome back to another episode. And this week we have here with us a lovely, beautiful lady, Yaffa Andre, all the way from Canada. Welcome, Yaffa. Alright, and so Yaffa and I have actually known ourselves for a couple of months, but you will think we've known each other since birth. I really appreciated her friendship, plus all the makeup tips I've been learning. Can you see the improvement today? Alright, anyways, welcome, enjoy the conversation, and I hope you are able to learn something today or be encouraged in a certain way. Welcome. Alright, so let's just get straight to the point. Okay, so you've been in Korea for almost a year.
Yes, almost a year. Time is
And what
flying
brought
by.
you here?
Well, that's the question people ask me all the time. Why Korea, right? Several reasons brought me to Korea. First, I went to Okoye University, and it was the first time, especially Okoye University is a HBCU, and historically black university and college. So it was unusual, I guess, for me to hear of other black people going to like Asian countries and traveling as much, and you know the media never shows you kind of that type of thing. So I thought it was really interesting when I had friends going to Japan, going to Korea, coming back and giving me their feedback of what happened. I love to travel, so to me it was like, oh cool, you know. And the reports always came back good, even with the mishaps or whatever happened. In general, they enjoyed their time. And in 2009, my best friend moved to work in Korea, so I came to visit her, and it was one of my best trips. I enjoyed the food, the shopping, of course, the shopping, and the people were just really friendly and nice. So I was even offered a job at that time, but I was continuing with med school and whatever, and things changed in my journey in life, so I changed from medicine to dentistry. And after several years of studying for dental hygiene, I decided to move up and do dentistry, and I had a year, you know, in between a gap. So I was like, I could just stay home and work, or I could do something exciting with my life. I have 1 year. I know when I go to dental school, it's gonna be like no life. And I love traveling, like I said. So I was looking online at AVS, Adventist Volunteer Services, and they have missions that you can do around the world. And just Korea kept just coming back to be an English teacher there. And people would come up to me randomly and be like, hey, I could so see you do this. And I was like, why would you even put the two together? So I just felt like after praying about it, and God was calling me to come here. And that's how I wind up in South Korea.
Well, you are doing great here.
Well, thank you.
So has the experience been everything you were expecting coming in?
Some of my expectations were met, some went beyond my expectation, and some, of course, a little under. But I think that's part of the life journey of going somewhere different. The weather, I did not expect to be like that. When I moved here, guys, I'm not somebody that sweats easily or what. I was just drenched. Like, I've never felt heat like that. It was like, so to be adjusted with the heat was one thing that I was like, whoa.
And then the cold.
But I'm Canadian.
One jacket.
Yeah, I brought one because I was like, it can't be as cold as Canada. I'm Canadian, you know. So my prideful self, and I had to get it together and buy a serious jacket when I got here. So that was one thing. The food. Over and beyond, like I love Korean food. It's just delicious. So in the quality of life and things of nature, I had to get adjusted with the work ethic and different mannerisms that I'm not necessarily fond to, but I understand it's not my culture, so still in the adjustment phase. But all in all, it was great.
Well, good. Thank you so much. So, as we do every week, can you please share with us one of your favorite quotes and why?
So my favorite quote is actually a Bible text, and it says, all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. And the reason why this is one of my favorite texts is because it's the story of my life. With all the trials and tribulation and whatnot that has happened, God has come through over and over. And even though he has not shown me every time, but in the many times that he's shown me the why things have happened, it's always been for my good. So even though at the time it doesn't make sense, it can be painful, just keep trusting. It's gonna be for your good.
Wow, so in saying that, with sharing that verse, you've kind of, in a way, mentioned, that you've gone through a lot to get here, right? I mean, everybody goes through a lot,
right?
But it's very difficult to kind of see that, especially with someone like you, always laughing, always happy-go-lucky and all of that. So what can you share with us? What are some of the experiences or some of the struggles that you've had to overcome?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest struggle that I feel like I had to overcome is knowing that you're enough. In the sense that other people, we value so much sometimes other people's opinion, and it's so easy to allow people to polluate your mind, right? To let you know, oh, they want you to conform this way and this way, and it's so easy to lose yourself. And when it comes to as a woman especially, I feel like society every day, by advertisement, by in the media, it's always telling you what you should be or should not be. Like, I think it's always, and if you're not what people expect, it's like you're in the wrong, and it's easy to lose yourself. And I think from a younger age, there's a lot of different things that experiences that happened that I had to learn to like accept myself for who I am. And I think that once you are able to accept yourself for who you are able to walk with confidence now. You are able to go through life and different situations and be like, I'm fine with it, So, example, Killa, and anybody that knows me, I was like, I think around my teens, you still get that puberty phase, and for some reason, I don't know why, I had 2 left feet, and I was just like trip over myself often, like I still do, and I think like whenever you have people, you also have a group of people that's always willing to bring out your faults and try to give you a complex of inferiority, like oh, you do this, oh, you're so clumsy, oh, you're so this, right? And you really have a choice to internalize it or to turn it around and be like, okay, that's part of me, and I'm fine with it, right? So I know for me, I had to get to that point where I'm like, you know what? Let me laugh at myself or at the situation, And when you're the first one acknowledging the situation, people can't turn it against you because you're already laughing. If I fall and I'm like, I'm like, oh, I'm so silly. What you're gonna do? Be like, you fell. I already acknowledged that.
Yeah.
So you can't take anything from that, And little things like that where, being unapologetic for who you are. So people will always feel like, oh. When I was like in my late teens, for example, such a tomboy. So wearing my sweaters, my FUBU, if you guys remember, for us by us, you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. My FUBU jerseys, oversized, of course. I was so skinny then. I had to wear overalls. Men's overalls, because my shoulder had to hold the big pants so I could be like baggy, and the feelers, the big.
I never wore those,
Girl, I was rocking those for days. And then it was one of those things where people always like, you're so beautiful, why do you feel like you have to do this? I love sport, I still love sports. It's like, you're so this, so why would you you don't have to use that outlet, Why sport? You're such a pretty girl. Why don't you just do more feminine things? And I think it can cause you to have a lot of complex about yourself or different mindset. Oh, maybe I should be more this, more that. And it's funny, but if you do wear more feminine clothes, oh well, why you always try to be extra sexy? Why you try to bring that attention?
That was my next question now, is that I can't imagine you as a tomboy, to be honest with you, and so because since I've known you, you've always been very preppy, always, put together, always, dress up. I mean, you were teaching me how to, get my makeup right and get my lady kind of lifestyle right as well, and I appreciate that. But it's like, was that a hard transition?
You know, it's really funny.
And was that the reason why you transitioned as well? Because of people's comments, or
It's a funny story because so I'm going to university, and so I'm packing my luggage, and I'm putting my jerseys, and I'm putting and as I'm packing, my mom's unpacking. She's like, nope. I said, what you doing? She's like, men don't marry men. Well, no offense, but so she was like, no, I'm not sending you to this university for you to
look like a man,
look like that. So I was like, well, she's like, let's go shopping. We go shopping, guys, and I pink. What? That's not a color I wore. So I still remember the exact items she bought. She bought me these skinny jeans that weren't even a thing really then, but she bought me some black corduroy skinny jeans, a pink top that's kind of like this dress, but just the top, pink. And then she bought me this blue skirt with pink flowers, with a turtleneck that had no sleeve to go with it. That's blue. And this black dress with pink flowers. I was like, you're trying to kill me. Why? What are you doing? Oh, my mom was like, So I went to school, and I was just like, Lord. And I have my jeans, and it's not that I couldn't rock the other one. I just felt more comfortable in that way. And you know, funny thing is, now I think about it, then another thing that was a complex to me, your parents can pass down their own fears about themselves. So my mom, her legs, she was a sporty girl, and she used to have like really strong calves, but I'm Haitian background. She used to get teased about it often, that she had like calves. And when I play sports, and I played very small, me and my sister we would get like cut easily. So she was kind of passing down, oh, you guys are looking too muscly, too much like men. So I had a complex a little bit, in the sense of like, oh, my legs were so muscular and things like that. I'm like, I'd rather wear pants than a skirt, you know, in that sense. So, and I never realized that until later on. So I go to university, and I started to do LETC, which is literature evangelism, which is basically selling Christian books door to door. But when you do so, you have to wear skirts. And that's when I had to get used to wearing skirts, just because you know, when you were in campaign, they would prefer it, and it's not just religious or anything like that. They just felt like it sells better. Also, really? Surprisingly, they did a little
psychology of it.
Yeah, the psychology of it, and I had to get used, and I did it. I loved it, and I used to canvas. I canvassed for actually 7 years, so I did it for many years, but having to wear skirts every day, even when I'm chilling, got me comfortable with wearing dresses all the time and looking girly or whatnot. I still wear a hoodie and sweatpants in a heartbeat. Don't, like, I will.
I've never seen you in one.
Yeah. I can play sports here, but I don't have a problem to go back and forth. But now I'm comfortable, and I understand that there's a place and a time for everything.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you had a complex with, you know, having masculine legs and all of that. How did all of that change? How did you become comfortable? You said wearing skirts with this ministry kind of helped, but I know, because I've been through that kind of same complex as well. I still have that complex actually, and maybe I'll share a little bit of that as we go. But how did you transition?
Oh yeah, so there's two things. So I do have it's a lot less now, but I used to have kind of eczema also on my legs.
Okay.
Right? So there's two things. The fact that I felt like, oh, my legs are rougher or whatever, and then the fact that it was muscular. And to, I guess, my mom's eyes, because she used to be teased about it, I was like, oh, maybe that's not the way to go, whichever. And so I moved to the South, where like I said, I love to play sports. So I'll still wear shorts to play basketball, whatever. But I would get complimented often on my legs, which I thought was mind-blowing. And it's people that even people that I care for, they were like, oh, yo, this is really nice or whatever. And I was like, really? And then to find out like more, in the South, that was something that was actually
most parts of the US actually.
Yeah, there's something that they think is really nice or look forward to. And it just made me realize, like, at the end of the day, you are who you are, and you will be. Chocolate cake and vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream. They're two flavors. the fact that some people like vanilla or like chocolate doesn't mean that chocolate is bad or vanilla is bad. It's just your own preference, and you're not gonna be everybody's taste, and that's fine. That doesn't take away from who you are. You just have to be okay with who prefers your taste and who doesn't. Like, it's just life. I think once you're comfortable with that understanding that I'm not gonna be everybody's taste, but I need to be who I am, because if chocolate ice cream try to be like vanilla, you'd be like, what is wrong? Right?
And I mean, that's one thing that I had to also realize when I was getting older, because I used to play sports when I was younger too, and I guess I was just built that way, I don't know, but I always had muscular legs, and so I wear heels, and then the back of my legs like this big old curve over there, you know, and it's just tough. Strong, you know? And so I was just like, people will comment on that, and when I was young, growing up in Ghana, it was just like they prefer, I mean, I guess not really soft, but for some reason I was always made to feel that my legs were not the way to go for a girl, okay? And so I had that same complex growing up, and then I get to the US and people will comment on that, like, yo, and I'm like, should I hide it, you know? And so then I got accustomed to wearing pants. I will rock pants like nobody's business, but you gave me a skirt and I was just self-conscious the whole day, right? Or dress, and I've gotten over that, but still sometimes it's a little there, because I'll be walking and I'll just be like, you know, and I stopped working out actually eventually at some point. So it's kind of really interesting to know that another person also kind of went through that.
And you know, as you're talking, it just reminds me over and over how powerful words are. People don't understand how your mouth can give life or take it away. You know, just if anything, like, I want to leave with you, it's just, you really can encourage or discourage, or like place a seed in somebody's mind when it comes to good or bad thing, because you don't know how many people before you have said it or not, and you can leave like you know, that thought in their mind, oh, is it really, am I really this
way?
You know, is that something really
exactly?
And if somebody has not had time to self-reflect and know, like, oh no, this is not true, this is true, you can really impact them, you know, in that sense. And going back, this actually ties in with what I was saying earlier, being able to live without caring about, and not what I mean, not caring about other people's opinion. I don't mean necessarily advice or things like that. However, a lot of people don't realize that things that come out of their mouth. Sometimes, just recently, somebody came to me, and I guess they meant to give it as a compliment, but they were like, I guess they felt like what I was wearing was very fashiony or whatever, and they were like, oh, you're so flashy, and I was like, okay. And it's funny because then you're like, oh, what do you mean by that? And they're like, what do you mean what I mean? Because it's like people don't understand the intent in their words sometimes. You know, it's like, well, what are you trying to say?
They don't know what experience you've had with the word flash.
So what is your goal? What is your purpose? Are you trying to give me a compliment or tell me to tone it down? Or you're not comfortable in the confidence I have to wear this thing? And so when I was about to wear something, I think yesterday or before, and I was trying to put together an outfit, I think it was to go to church, and somehow that comment came into my mind, oh, you're too flashy, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't wear this, and I had to stop myself to be like, pollution. I had to stop. Like, I'm not allowing this sentence, this thought to stay. So I'm removing that. I will wear what I wear. If somebody, if that's not their taste, and they prefer something that is more
not flashy,
sure, not flashy, or that doesn't bring, and they can find that there's a 200 billion people on this earth, and they don't have to, and that doesn't mean that I have to go ahead and change my whole lifestyle because one person's opinion.
They can find their taste to someone
exactly else. And that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with it. It's just you prefer something else.
Vanilla. Great, awesome, thank you. So right now in your life, right, I know when you have that mentality, how does that play out for you? Say at work, with friends, and that, do people fight you when they, like, do people treat you as someone who doesn't listen and that you're stubborn or stuff like, because I know that I've had that before where people are like, you don't listen to nothing. But it's not because I don't want to listen to you. It's just because I'm blocking that from influencing my life or my thoughts negatively, but they don't understand that.
Right.
So have you had an experience with that, or do you deal with that now? Because you're very confident in who you are and you're going to do what you need to do to look how you want to look and to feel how you want to feel. But how do people respond to that, and how is that influencing you now?
Two ways. I think it's very funny. So in 2012, I moved from my home in Montreal, Canada, to Ottawa, where I started to study for dental hygiene. And I told you guys I love sports. I like to play basketball, all that stuff. I never ate well, but because I did so much sports, football, basketball, I was so active, I never kept weight. Usually 145, 150 is my max. So when I started dental hygiene, my program, you can't play sport because they're like, if anything happens to you, you're out of the program. And where I lived, there's no way to do all of that. So basically, with my bad eating habits and all that stuff, I started to gain like 20 pounds a year. So in the 3 years, I think I gained 60 pounds. So when I was going back home, for people that are used to seeing me a certain way, it was kind of shocking to them, like, oh my gosh, I'm still the same way that I gained now. This is what you see now, and I'm fine with it. But to me, it was so funny because I've always liked thickness on other people. So I was like, ooh, okay. And I'm like, well, right? And to me, I'm like, oh, it's a different me, but hey, I can work with it. But it was an eye-opener to see how certain people viewed you, or the people that you thought were friends or whatever, the shade or the undermining, or I finally have something I can, that I'm doing better. You know what I mean? So it's like the type of comments that would come through and be like, oh, what's going on with you? What's wrong? I was like, I'm blessed. What do you mean? I'm blessed. Wait, my landlord and her husband, they're like amazing cooks. So I used to come home to like, she would call me, she's like, are you coming? Because I made some fried fish, I made some this, I'm like, I'm getting on the bus right now. You know? Her husband is Chinese, she's Haitian, they're both amazing cooks. And the people that I found there, the church I was going to, the people that were around me, were so friendly, were so loving, I felt love, I felt cared for, I felt so happy. So to me, to come back to a place where my goal is just to try to point out things, I was like, really? But the funny thing is, it brought more confidence in me, because it comes to me, it's like, if you walk in a room with already all the complexes and all the things, like, oh my gosh, this is probably, people will be like hyenas. They'll be like, oh, she already knows she's a mess. My boss used to tell me, it's like, if you feel like you don't look back, you act like you didn't know this was the new Vogue fashion. If you didn't know, now you know, type of thing, you know. So walking with your head up high in all situations. Some people don't like it, of course, and they'll be like, they'll feel like, too much overconfidence or whatnot. But I feel like when you're able to rise above it and still be yourself, it's not, in a sense of like, you're still friendly, you're still this, but you just have to place your boundaries and find out who to have around you and who to, thank you for your opinion. And have a seat. You know? And you have people that you know truly in your life, they're telling you things because they love you. And you can tell just by how they say it and their intent in it. And that I will take into consideration. When somebody talks to you, you can tell if they're doing it with love, with care, what their intention, how is their support system towards you. And instead of that one person that just comes left side, you know. So, and it comes to the good thing, we have to remember, it's not only about good things. Like, people will tell you bad things, but also when people try to gas you up for no reason. You need to also be able to see them, the people that are trying to gas you. I'm like, you're not a friend. You letting me go out looking all kind, girl, yes. You know, so you still need somebody to be able to tell you the truth. And I think tact and the manner in which you do things, there's a time and place for everything. So somebody that's able to know that is really good.
Thank you for being so real about that, because that is a big issue for a lot of women and some men too. Most men too, actually. You know, and it all plays down into the kind of self-esteem issues that a lot of women have, and most of this is because of things they hear, you know, about themselves, and to be able to realize that you are a changing person, right? And so, for example, these days, like, I'm wearing false lashes today. Okay, and yeah, that is something that I had a big complex about, you know, and I will never wear that, not because I thought it was like sinful or horrible, but at the same time I was very scared of what people will think of me, because I hated the word, wow, you've changed. It always sounded negative.
Right.
But I'm like, this is 2018. You know, because I always admire these women who are able to just stand in themselves, be confident, and just, like, you know, not wearing makeup because of lack of confidence or because of anything, but just because the occasion calls for it, and they just want to look nice for a night, you know. And I'm realizing that it's okay to want to look nice. Why are you feeling bad about wanting to look nice?
It's so funny. And society really makes that. I hear that all the time. Oh, you look so beautiful without makeup.
Yeah.
If you only knew. I know. I already know. I enjoy doing art. I'm an artist by heart. Since I was younger, I drew, I paint, I love sculpting. When I do your makeup, when I do your hair, you see it when I do hair. I'm like, girl, come over. I'll do your hair. I'll do your makeup. It's something that I always enjoy. So it's called makeup artist. There's that part. So again, people's opinion of, oh, well, why do you always have to look all nice? Why does that bother you so much?
Why can't I look all nice? You know?
Why?
It talks about the insecurities that other people have that
project on you.
Project on people as well. And like you said, you know when it's good and when it's bad, and when to listen and when not to.
Right.
Because, and there's places for everything. Like I'll be traveling soon, and I know there are certain communities I'll be going in that say me wearing false lashes will just devastate people. I won't wear it. Not because I'm feeling kind of weak about it, or I'm feeling anxiety about it anyway, but because I just want to lessen the talk. I just want to have my peace in that. Well, we could talk about this all day, But I just want to see, so what is one message you have for young women out there, or young men out there who want to just become like confident, not just that, but also be able to stand in the shoes that they imagine for themselves as women, who are just fully women and also able to enjoy everything else in life and be pretty and sexy and beautiful and powerful and all of that, because we are complex beings. You can be sexy and you can be a tomboy and you can be a
at the same time,
and you can be whatever at the same time, still being you.
So when it comes to I guess tips and advice, I think there's a couple things you just need to know. And you need to not only know it in your mind, but in your heart and soul. First, God loves you so much. And I think that was one of my biggest, you asked earlier, what's your biggest struggle? And I think that for years and years, that was my biggest thing. I'm sinning, so I'm doing all these different things. And I think atheist or Christian or whoever you are, you sometimes can look and be like, I'm not, you know, what I'm supposed to be, and you can be so hard on yourself. And the way you compare yourself with others, worst thing, comparing yourself with others, be like, oh, what am I? But when you realize that God has fearfully and wonderfully made you, and that you're not a mistake, the way your character is, the way who you are, has been fashioned and molded by God. So the only person's opinion that needs to matter the most is God. And to know that no matter what happens and who loves me, who doesn't love me, God loves me. If I got on my side, who else do I need? Like, I have the biggest supporter, the biggest fan, the most love from that. So when I was able to understand and truly know that no matter what I do and who I am, God will love me unconditionally, I think that was the foundation. Because when that's the foundation, everything else is like branches and leaf and extra, you know. So when you have that right, when you know, like, you have that complete love, it's so much easier. One, two, understanding that not everybody is here for you. You keep thinking, oh, this person, that person, you'll be surprised how many people are close to you, but it's just to see your downfall. So that's another thing. Not everybody is there for you, so you need to be able to decipher. Another thing is, and I've said this, and I think that's one thing about my life that's been consistent, is don't let people place you in a box. Just because I'm an extrovert doesn't mean I can't like reading books and have my alone time drawing and reading. Says who? Don't let society and the people around you put you in a box. Yes, you can be. I have a good friend of mine. She's a fashion model and she's a neuroscientist. Who said she can't do both? Like, why is it that you can't play sport and yet still after go somewhere and look fashionable? There's nothing wrong with that. Understanding that a lot of people are still learning how to use their words properly. You need to make sure you have a filter, and you need to pray and decipher what you need to allow in and what you need to not cross the barrier, and take that time for yourself. We love to be surrounded with people, with social media, but learn who you are. It's very important to know your boundaries, know what you like and dislike, because once you understand yourself, why do you act the way you do? What do you respond to? What are things that make you tick, things that don't? What are your boundaries that you nobody has over the boundaries? This will help you have the confidence and that you need. And last, we all made in God's image. We're all humans. Just because somebody has a title doesn't make them better than you. So if I walk in a room, why do I hold my head high? Because my head high is because I'm surrounded by humans. Period. Why should I look down? Like, there's no reason. Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what I'm dressed like. My hair could be a hot mess, face a hot mess. I'm a human. You're a human. Period. Sinners saved by grace.
Well, ladies, there you have it. We want you to be confident. That's all 2018 is about, and I hope that you're able to build some, strategies for yourself that can help you keep your head high in every situation. You are made beautiful, no matter what you look like, no matter what you enjoy, no matter what you love. Don't let people put you in a box. And if when you find that people are doing that, brush it off.
Deuces.
Brush it off. Okay? So I just want you to remember, you can be confident too. You can do whatever you want to do. And you can still enjoy everything and still be brilliant and still be powerful and still be classy and everything else. All right, so I hope you were encouraged by this, and I hope you were able to learn something new here. And thank you, Yaffa, so much.
My pleasure.
For coming today. And as always, if you have any questions, if you want to join us here on the show, send me a message. Subscribe, please. I need subscribers, please. Okay, subscribe and share this video, comment, and join me also on my Instagram, theSeoulChic. All right, I'll see you next week. Have a great week, guys.
Bye.